Wife cheated at bachelorette party. Fake friend exposed her. My M36 wife F34 cheated on me back in 2019. I was blindsided and I wanted to share because I was told my reaction was a little unhealthy. After I was played like some kind of fool, I wanted to understand why some women were so untrustworthy. My wife had showed me she had no loyalty, even though I did what I needed to keep her happy. Me and my wife got married 6 years ago and we were in a good place from the beginning. I worked handling the accounts at my company and she was a nurse when I met her. We rented a nice house and wasn't in any real debt. We were good at managing our money, so spending wasn't a problem. We communicated easily, worked good as a team, and getting physical at night was easy because she was just gorgeous and kept her looks up always. Our family had got along good, and me and her brother Jacob was practically best friends. He worked as the custodian at the hospital she worked at thanks to their mom, and we always looked out for her little brother. My wife was clearly an independent woman, and she could always think for herself. She always had a sense of confidence and demanded respect from me and Jacob. We didn't have kids, but I felt like if we did she would be a good inspiration. But the problem with her was that she had toxic friends around her. The way they talked about each other made me feel like they were more like rivals than anything. They would talk about each other all week, but party together and claim they were sisters. Not only that, they would get into terrible arguments. Especially when they were drunk. I can't count how many times they had a falling out with each other. Then the next week they would go out on a girls' trip to be on vacation. I was told that girls secretly be in competition with each other, so I thought it was just typical. It could be annoying, but I just took the good for the bad. I just thought it was normal between the five of them. The affair happened when her friend Erica was about to get married. Before the marriage, it's normal to have their wild party, so my wife and her friends left that night to throw Erica the party they planned at the hotel. I knew they were going to be out all night, so I didn't bother waiting up for her. A couple days after the wedding, I was getting ready to hop in the shower that night when I heard my phone ringing in the bedroom. At the time, I wasn't sure if that's what I heard, so I just hopped in the shower. When I came out the shower I saw I had 6 missed calls, and they were from the same number. This was weird to me, so I didn't call the person back since I didn't know who this person was. When I was in my living room the number called again, and even though I didn't know the number I decided to pick up. When I answered, nobody answered me back at first and all I could hear was a girl talking to a guy in the background. After saying hello 3 times I just hung up. After that, they called again and I immediately picked up the phone. This time the girl answered me back and I realized it was one of my wife's friends. I asked her friend, let's just call her Jasmine, why she was calling me. She immediately started calling my wife names and said she cheated on me at the party. This had put a real fear in me, but I still said she didn't know what she was talking about. She said she did know and that she had recorded it as proof to show me. I asked her what she was talking about and she told me everything. She said at Erica's party, they had hired some guys to come there and dance for everybody. Since my wife was extra friendly to one of the guys, he kept coming back to her and he had crossed the line with her. I couldn't believe what I was hearing, but at the same time I knew this kind of thing wasn't uncommon. After hearing me not say anything for a minute, Jasmine said if I wanted the evidence she would send it to my phone. I told her send it to me and she said to hang up while she got ready to send it. After about 5 minutes she sent me 4 video files and when I looked at them I had collapsed on my couch seeing the proof. I called Jasmine back and she asked me did I get it, and while being choked up I said I did get it. She started calling my wife names again and told me she was sorry for how she acted. I asked her why she would do this to somebody she claimed was her sister and she never gave me a direct answer. She just said my wife and her friends were a bunch of hypocrites and called them fake. I asked how did she get my number and she reminded me my wife called her from my phone asking directions for her dinner party she had at a restaurant. She said she was done being their friend and said that Erica was doing bad things too. Jasmine said talk to my wife about it and I told her she was at another friend's house at the time, but I definitely was. After hanging up, I was falling to pieces. I knew I had to confront her. There was 4 full videos of my wife being with another guy. But after that, I didn't know what my life would be like and how she could do this to me. I never trusted these parties, but I didn't think it would happen to me. I don't even get invited to these things. When my wife got home I confronted her as soon as she walked in the door. I asked her how she was doing and she said she was tired but fine. I told her I never asked her how Erica's party was and did she have fun. She seemed caught off guard a little, but she said it was fine. I told her Jasmine said she had a fun time, and that she even recorded her to show me later. She looked spooked and asked me what I was talking about and I showed her the videos of her and the guy getting it on that night. First her jaw dropped, then she screamed at what she saw. She begged me not to leave her, and said Jasmine was doing this because my wife had replaced her with somebody else to be one of Erica's bridesmaids. She said her and Erica got into a big argument about it with her and Erica uninvited her from the ceremony. When I heard this, I could kinda see why Jasmine was mad, but not to go this far though. It didn't matter to me because I told her I was getting a divorce and that's exactly what I did. Through the whole divorce, both of our families wanted us to reconcile. I was told even though she shouldn't have done it, it was a special night for them and I wasn't supposed to have known. I told them that was supposed to be for the bride, and even if she was I wouldn't stay with her. I couldn't believe my wife was doing this with this guy, especially in public. After finally getting divorced I still couldn't leave the situation alone. I got in touch with other guys that dance and asked them about getting women. I even asked women. The women said they don't, but no girls who did it for extra money. The guys I asked said they get girls all the time, especially the bride. One guy said when he started, it wasn't like that at first. But the women started wanting it, and it just became normal. When I told my friends this, they said it was unhealthy and I should stop talking to them. I don't know, I guess it was just how I was handling it at the time, but I don't see nothing wrong with it. I just couldn't get those videos out my head, especially when the guy knew she was being secretly recorded. Right now my ex-wife lives in her own apartment close to her job somewhere. I used to see her family once in a while and they still asked me to forgive her because of the circumstance, but I can't do it. I hate to admit it, but Jasmine was right when she said my ex-wife was a fake friend, but apparently her love was fake too. Now she don't regret it, I hear. Thank you reading through all of this and please continue to stay genuine. My world has been turned upside down by cheating revelations. Not sure why I'm posting, maybe to vent, maybe to find comfort in others' similar experiences, and maybe to ask if I'll recover properly. I don't want this to destroy me. It's still quite fresh and I'm dealing with probably every emotion possible, but this week, I 39F have found out that my BF 42 meters has been on dating apps for pretty much the entirety of our 2-year relationship. I caught him when he went away for a weekend work meetup and sent me a screenshot which had Tinder and Bumble icons on the notification bar, obviously, but luckily for me he was dopey enough not to clear them. I flipped out and he came out with some bullshit that a recent update installed them automatically. Yeah right. He was mostly uncontactable all weekend, drinking till 6 a.m. etc. But when I did video chat with him I knew he was deceiving me. I could tell in his eyes and body language. Anyway, he was in a bad way with extreme anxiety from the hangover, so I said I'd pick him up from the airport. I was actually worried about his safety. On the drive home he was talking about some stupid argument and drama that happened one night amongst colleagues and how he's worried about this particular female colleague. He was also saying how they had deep chats about mental health and that they had a lot in common. Fine, but something was off and I knew not all was as it appeared. We got back to his and I confronted him properly about the apps. He confessed and said it was for a confidence boost and that he needs to seek validation from other people. I knew he had self-esteem issues, but geez. I asked to see his phone and he gave it to me confidently, knowing he deleted messages in the apps, or so he thought. He forgot to delete Hinge, so I opened it and there were so many messages flirting, arranging dates and exchanging numbers. My whole world fell apart. I thought we had a good thing, a real connection. Again, he told me it was for validation, he just wanted to be seen, and that he never met anyone in person. I actually believe that part, any spare time we were together. Not that that matters. Something wasn't right about this female colleague though, so I pressed him. He denied anything happened, but whenever I said her name he was agitated. I could tell he was lying. Eventually, after pretty much dragging the truth out of him, he told me she kissed him and that he didn't pull away and that in that moment he wanted it. If the apps weren't bad enough, this really floored me. This was way more real. He said he regretted it and pulled away after the kiss. But who knows, the fact he got himself into that position is bad enough. A few days later, and struggling to cope with the mental anguish, I go back to his for more clarity to process everything. I ask to see his phone again and he hands it over. I went through the messages between him and his friends to see if I get the real picture, the things he's not comfortable telling me, and sure enough, more incriminating stuff. Messages saying how he wants to meet women on Tinder, messages saying how he had an instant spark with this woman, blah blah. Well, I got the picture and it was a completely different picture to the man I thought I knew. I can see he's absolutely gutted, he's hurt me so much, but he's also just realized how much was actually at stake. I'm absolutely devastated. I really thought we had a good future together. I told him he needs to sort himself out, get therapy, because he can't live his life like this hurting people. And for me, I just don't know what to do with myself now. 31 meters husband cheated on 27F me with his fit and skinny gym friend. I came home from work early. I'm an OB nurse, so my hours are pretty unpredictable, and found female sneakers in the garage that weren't mine. At that point, I sort of already knew what I'd be walking into. My husband has recently become very fit and has been consistently going to the gym, during which he made a female friend who he even brought home for dinner last week. She's beautiful and thin and everything I am not, which instantly made me feel horrible. So, I talked to him about it. He encouraged me to build my confidence and reassured me he loved me and would always be loyal to me. I walked into the laundry room from the garage and sort of tiptoed around the house before going upstairs. They were having a hug. In our bed, with a framed picture from our wedding above the nightstand next to it. I silently left the room and got back in my car with tears streaming down my face and drove to get food and just sat in my car crying since. It's now almost 1 a.m. Walked in on them at 7 p.m. and I've returned to the hospital. He called me asking why I wasn't home and I told him my shift is extended, but in reality, I'm laying in one of the on-call rooms bawling my eyes out as I type this. I feel so worthless and ugly and stupid. I don't even know how to proceed. On one hand I want to divorce him and never see him again. But on the other hand, I'm an ugly not like I can do better. I just want to die. I feel so gross and the self-loathing is getting too much right now. Advice please. X200B